An integrated development environment, or IDE for short, is a computer program that was created by programmers to make programming easier. So this is an example of an IDE. There's hundreds of IDEs and all of them support different programming languages, but this one called IntelliJ that you could see up on the left corner is really good for Java programming. So what this application lets me do is actually write my Java code. So here's my Java code right here. Additionally, it'll error out. It'll kind of show red whenever I write something incorrectly, which lets me know when something's wrong in my code before I even try running it. So this is really good for identifying issues in my code. Programming languages, just like regular languages, have syntax rules. So in English, like you need to use your punctuation, you need your commas, you have rules around that and spelling. In programming, same thing. We got rules. We got to end with semicolons here in Java. And if I don't have that semicolon, you'll see the red. So I wouldn't worry too much about what this code means here, but this video is just to show that IDEs are really good for showing developers when something's wrong. Additionally, IDEs give you a really easy way to compile your code. Remember in the last video, I discussed that this code needs to be translated into something that the computer can understand. So usually an IDE will have a button somewhere that builds the code. So in this IntelliJ, this would be the build button right here. If you hover over it, it says build project. If I click run, this will actually execute that code and run whatever I have here. So what this program is doing is just printing out hello world. So you'll see once I run this program, the computer will execute the code and the code is telling the computer, hey, print out hello world. And that's what I see here. Additionally, IDEs support an easy way to debug your code. You'll learn more about debugging later, but debugging is just stepping through the code whenever something goes wrong, just to see what it could have been. So it's an easy way to step through the code while it's executing, and this is supported by IDEs, but I wouldn't worry too much about that right now. Just know that IDEs make programmers' lives much easier. You could write all this code on any text editor, a notepad, but you won't get all these nice features like the buttons being easy for building and running and all the red whenever you write something wrong. Now, downloading these apps like IntelliJ and configuring everything can sometimes be sort of a hassle, and just this interface in general can be sort of intimidating for people who just started programming. So what I suggest is not to download one of these unless you really know what you're doing for now. And then you can revisit this later. But for now, what I suggest you do is instead of downloading any software, you can just go on Google and find IDEs online and just write your code on here. This is so much easier because all you need is an internet browser and a Google search, and you can find something that'll work for you. There's hundreds of these IDEs online, and they usually all do the same thing. For example, here we have a run button, so this is going to compile and run it all together. And this code is similar to the code, well, actually, it's exactly what the code I had in my IDE that prints out hello world. So when we click run here, it'll print out hello world. So there it is. There's other IDEs. They all might look a little different, but generally, if there's a place for you to type your code and a run button somewhere, here it's called execute, same thing. And then over here, you'll see the output of your program. So this is a lot easier than having to download that IntelliJ IDE that I was just mentioning.